How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm finally going over my Edgar Markov commander deck. This one is a Edgar Markov but put in place of the 2021 Vampire Precon that came out with Innistrad Crimson Vow. So the majority of the creatures, the spells, pretty much anything that's in the deck, the majority of it came with that Precon. And these are my top 10 favorite cards that synergize well with Edgar. There will be a second video tomorrow about my top 10 favorite cards in the deck. They won't feature any of the cards that are on this list today. So with that being said, zoom out this camera. Y'all know what Edgar does already. You had a nice little view of him. And these are my top 10 cards that synergize well with the deck, and you'll see why once I go over them. Before we start this video off though, make sure that you share the video if you like it, drop a like, and leave a comment on what your favorite card is that I show you here. At number 10 for me is Markov Purifier. It is from the Crimson Vow set, not in the Precon, because the Precon is only black and red Rakdos. It is not black and white. So this is Markov Purifier. Lifelink at the beginning of your end step. If you gain life this turn, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. So you're gonna see with this deck, there's a lot of lifelink stuff. There's a lot of destroy this, make someone sack this. You gain life, things die, people lose life, I gain life. There's gonna be a lot of this with these 10 cards here. So that's number 10. Markov Purifier has lifelink. Remember that. Next up is Crossway Troublemakers. Troublemakers is attacking vampires you control have death touch and lifelink. Whenever a vampire you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. With Edgar Markov and you're playing a lot of vampires, you get to make tokens and you can attack with those tokens. They gain death touch and lifelink when they're attacking. If they die, you get to pay 2 life, draw a card. They also have lifelink, so you'll gain life back. It's just so good. That way that triggers Markov Purifier as well. Crossway Troublemakers just really helps the deck gain more synergy by giving every vampire while they're attacking death touch and lifelink. And you'll see coming up why that is very important. So that's number 9. Number 8 is Butcher of Manicure. Flying vampire warrior. Whenever a Butcher of Manicure or another creature I control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So when creatures die, then they will all be vampires in this deck. There's only vampires. There's one human that is a partner with the vampire. So the only thing that's in here, it is in the Precon. That's why. When another creature I control dies, so Crossway Troublemakers, same thing. Whenever a vampire I control dies, which everything is a vampire in here, I can pay 2 life. But then with this, each opponent sacks a creature. Something over there dies. Y'all see more cards that synergize well with this once we get to them. So that is number 7. Number 6 is Sanctum Seeker. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Same thing. The attack triggers will stack. So her giving them. So Crossway Troublemakers giving them death touch and lifelink. Sanctum Seeker. When a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and I gain 1 life. So each vampire, regardless of if it's a token or not, gains lifelink. Does that extra 1 damage. I gain that extra life. And on top of that, when we go to this next one, it is Anawan the Rune Sage. Let's move these up here. So Anawan the Rune Sage is a legendary creature vampire shaman. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player sacrifices a non-vampire creature. So when that happens, you're making them sack. It's a good sack outlet to make people, to make them clear their board. And then Markov Enforcer. So another card that's in the Precon. This is a 6-drop 6/6 vampire soldier. Whenever Markov Enforcer or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, Markov Enforcer fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. So instantly with Edgar as your commander, you drop this and he fights 2 creatures because that vampire token enters. He enters. He's a 6/6 that gets to fight 2 creatures essentially right there. And then whenever a creature dealt damage to Markov Enforcer this turn dies, create a blood token. You get to make blood tokens off of him. So he gets to fight things. You get to continually have him fight things when you cast other vampires, and he gets to fight up to 2 things. So I think he synergizes very well in the deck, especially when you're playing Edgar. Next up, Vito, Thorn of the Dusk Rose. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And you gain life off of Sanctum Seeker, you gain life off of Crossway Troublemakers, you gain life off of Markov Purifier. All of these make you gain life, which is amazing. They have some type of life link. They have you gain some type of life, and because of that, it makes the deck that much better. Veto helps maximize the deck that way, and helps me play a lot better. Helps me synergize. At number 3, Falconwrath Noble. Falconwrath Noble is a 4-drop vampire noble, flying, and whenever Falconwrath Noble or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So it says another creature or himself dies. Doesn't mean only my own, but it means everyone else's creatures. So whether I'm making them sack creatures or sack creatures, death touch, they're attacking, I'm gaining life. There's so many triggers in here, and then when he fights creatures, they're most likely gonna die going up against a 6/6. So there's just a bunch of things that are happening here. Like, there's so much synergy between things attacking, things dying, things having to be sacked, and then that triggers Falconwrath Noble, which then triggers life gain, which then triggers veto. So I gain life, one loses that much life, and then triggers Markov Purifier, so I'm going to draw cards at the end of my turn. And if I send some 1/1 tokens in to attack with Crossway Troublemakers, they gain death touch and lifelink, so someone takes another damage because of veto. And then Falconwrath Noble, if they block them, the tokens die. Falconwrath Noble triggers, I get to pay 2 life, draw a card. It is just such a great synergy with the deck. So at number 2 is Cruel Celebrant. Cruel Celebrant is whenever Cruel Celebrant or another creature or planeswalker I control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and I gain 1 life. Life gain, making them lose life. Triggers with veto. Triggers with Falconwrath Noble. Like, everything does something for a reason. It is just such a great little combo piece with everything in this deck. And of course, at number 1 is Blood Artist. Whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Just like Falconwrath Noble, but it is 2 mana less. Still triggers for each other creature, including himself. This is all about just making sure that everything in itself triggers. Say this is out, this Falconwrath Noble. Just playing him makes another vampire token, and you have this out. You get to attack twice there. He gets to fight twice there, and the synergy of this deck is off the charts. It's so good, and it's just about getting the pieces out and like protecting them. And when you have some big beaters out, like Anawan, like Butcher, Manicure, Crossway Troublemakers, Markov Enforcer, you kind of just sit back, you build up your mana base. You don't even have to play Edgar, and playing Edgar is amazing because when he attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire control. All these guys get +1/+1 counters, but him just being in the command zone triggers his effect. So it's like, why even play him? But I mean, it's just the synergy with the life gain and the making people sack creatures, and when creatures die, they lose a life, I gain a life, and then that triggers veto because I gain life, they lose more life. And I get to draw cards off of lifelink. I get to draw cards when vampires die by paying life, but I'm gaining so much life back that life shouldn't really matter. Just all of these synergize so well in the deck. These are my 10 favorite cards when it comes to synergizing within the deck. And it's really in that order. Like, it starts with Markov Purifier, and then you get your big pieces out, like 6-drop, 7-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, 6-drop, and then from there you go to your things that ping them: Veto, Falconwrath Noble, Cruel Celebrant, Blood Artist. So yeah, these are my 10 favorite creatures in the deck that synergize in terms of sacking creatures, life gain, dealing damage, pinging stuff. So yeah, and these are on the precon, except for Markov Purifier, which probably isn't more than $1. Veto, Thorn of the Dust Rose. This is a promo of him, but he probably shouldn't be more than $5. And then Cruel Celebrant, which I packed her in a pack, but I don't think she's more than maybe $1 or $2. But yeah, there will be another video with Edgar tomorrow with my top 10 favorite cards in the deck that are more like different things, different creatures that don't necessarily synergize like this, but I still like to play regardless. That being said, I will drop a link to my first Edgar video where I talked about working him into the deck. It will be somewhere around here in the top right of the video right now. Outside of that, though, if you have any questions, any comments, if you have any more cards I should put in here, I do want to get Zulaport Cutthroat for this deck. I thought I had one, but I don't see him in the Precon that I thought he was in. So I need to find him. But he's probably the only non-vampire card that will probably be in this deck. I do know that there are probably better cards to put in here than these big, like 5 and 7 drop vampires. But I like having them in there. It makes it fun. It lets me use the majority of the Precon. And it powers down Edgar just a bit, having such strong creatures in there. So that way Edgar's not just going off and winning every game like that. I want it to still be fun playing Edgar. But yeah, make sure to leave a like on the video, drop a comment saying which card is your favorite. If you have any suggestions for other vampires to add, let me know by dropping a comment down below. And make sure to share this video with someone that likes Magic. With that, this is Fred Inferno. I'll catch you later.